Kyle of TAN Books joins us to talk about Meditations on the Holy Angels, this book I'm holding right here. Kyle, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Bonnie. It's great to be here.
Great. Everybody loves talking about angels, and they're fascinated and fond of angels, but St. Aloysius really had a special regard for the angels. What can you tell us about that?
St. Aloysius prayed to his guardian angel 3 times each day, so he had a special devotion, kind of like the Angelus, where is a just daily pattern for him. And some of that, I think, just with the saints, he's surrounded by saints. First of all, as St. Charles Borromeo and St. Robert Bellarmine were quite influential in his life. And St. Aloysius viewed his guardian angel as another saint to keep in common. It's his personal patron saint he saw appointed by God, which is really a beautiful way of viewing it. And so if you have that mindset, that mentality that God has given you your own unique personal patron, it's really something to be in awe at and wonder at and let that person guide you through your life. And that's how St. Aloysius viewed his guardian angel, as his personal patron appointed by God for his sanctification. And that's why he referred to him, prayed to him so much throughout the day, is just to help him increase and grow in holiness.
That's beautiful. As I mentioned earlier, people really warm up to this topic, and angels certainly have a variety of roles. They're protectors, guardians, advisors, and warriors. And as you mentioned, St. Aloysius prayed to his guardian angel 3 times daily. How can we encourage people to have that relationship with that godly appointed angel assigned to us?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question, and super pertinent to each one of us, no matter where we are in our state of life. It's really taking the mentality of St. Aloysius that a guardian angel isn't this thing you read about or that shows up in movies and, stops a tree branch at the right time. He's a person. He's a real person. He's a saint. And so oftentimes we kind of get confused and conflating the supernatural with something that's kind of curious or maybe piques our interest, but he's a real person who's there really to guide us, to protect us, to enlighten us, and to strengthen us at every single moment, whether we pray for it or not. And so looking at that from that vantage point, we have, it's almost a superhero, more than a superhero by our side every single moment. And so to take the time and just realize the goodness and mercy of God that he's extended to us by giving us our own angel, I think if we can just view him more as a person, that really should cultivate a deep, strong relationship and prayer with our angels, just like any patron saint, where some of us have, Saint Teresa of Lisieux, Saint John Paul II. Any saint we have a relationship because we find something similar with them. And likewise for our angel, it's the same thing. He's a person, and just to treat him as such.
Sure. Along that same vein, just because St. Aloysius is the patron of youth and students, and they are young people are in such need of affirmation and support, how would this revered saint guide young people to meditate on the role of angels and kind of cultivate that relationship?
Excellent question. So for one of the greatest needs of a student is guiding our intellect. And so in that, the prayer we all know, the guardian angel prayer, the way it ends is to light, to guard, to rule, and to guide. And the way St. Aloysius talks about it, to light is the enlightening of our intellect. So a really very easy, practical way to resolve this is if we have any problem, whether it's mathematics, studying for a test, writing a paper, there's some question we're hung up on, to pray to our guardian angel to help enlighten our intellect. They're there for that. They're our teacher. And it's not just restricted to the spiritual life. It is every single moment of our day, where they can, St. Thomas Aquinas talks about it in depth, but that they can help us remove barriers to our intellect by enlightening us through as instrumental means of God's grace. And so really for students, I'm still a student. I finished up my master's, and I've used that several times after reading this book, was, I should pray to my guardian angel for help on this question that I'm having a little difficulty with. And we're all students in life, no matter what. But particularly for the youth, where I've taught some mathematics, and math can bring tears, and sometimes maybe the guardian angel is the one who can help us shed those tears and put them away.
Yeah, math certainly brings tears to me. Like, that was a very frustrating academic realm for me. But soon we will be celebrating the angels on our liturgical calendar on their feast days. How can people obtain a copy of the book and observe these days?
Yeah, it's tanbooks.com. If you look in their search bar, you can either type in St. Aloysius or Meditations on the Holy Angels, whichever one you remember. You put that into the search bar, and you'll be able to find the title with that beautiful blue cover.
Great. Well, I always have angel food cake on the Feast of the Angels, as much angel food cake as I can get. And
that's beautiful.
And thanks so much for taking the time to reflect on the Meditations of the Holy Angels by St. Aloysius. And thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks again so much for having me. God bless y'all.